Greetings and welcome, everyone, to an all-you-can-geek bonus round, the spoilercast for Marvel's Ant-Man and Wasp. The sequel to Ant-Man, obviously. Welcome, listeners and viewers. I'm one of your hosts, Jim Gast, joined by Corey Feinsod.
It's not true serum.
And Tony Kokonakis. He stole yours, didn't he?
It is true serum.
Oh, it is true serum. Oh, that's a good. So it's like true serum, dude. It's just like true. It sounds like true serum. I love his friends. It sounds like true serum.
Like, where is?
Anyways, so listeners, viewers, welcome to the bonus round. Once again, we're gonna do a spoiler cast on Ant-Man and Wasp. So if you haven't seen the movie, you probably don't want to listen to this yet. Watch it and then listen to this. We're gonna get into spoilers. We're already starting, so let's just get it going. Stop listening to last warning. We're going to get into it now and continue our jokes because this movie was a lot of fun. I think that's really what it was about. The palate cleansing after Infinity War that we all needed. I think that's the idea behind it. And I mean, it just starts off even like in the beginning with him in the house arrest.
Oh, that was so cute.
Yeah,
it was so cute. Like, I saw that and I was just like, oh, like that, like. He's such a good dad. Like,
I mean, like... the thing I noticed about this movie, and that was a great opener and stuff for me. It opened actually with, what did it open before that? Actually, was there the scene before that? I can't remember. That's for me. That was the opening scene.
That was it.
Yeah. So
I actually missed the first 10 minutes of this movie, so I don't know.
Oh, so it opened with that, and his foot goes out, and then the cops, then cops show up.
So basically, it was him and Cassie.
Yeah, Cassie.
Flying in his house, and basically what he had done was he constructed this like huge, like Indiana Jones-esque like adventure thing out of cardboard and sheets, basically like a blanket or sheet fort with cardboard, and it was about them trying to she was pretending that they had shrunken down and were like trying to get something back and whatnot, and whatever, and with them like doing like a cardboard slide like down the stairs and then outside onto the porch and then down the stairs and then. His foot goes to the fence, and that's what triggers like the cops to come to his place because they think he's trying to escape.
And that's when we get the backstories to what's really going on with him about being under house arrest.
Yeah, house arrest. Yeah, and he's like, and like the cops making fun of him like for like studying magic tricks. And
I thought that was funny.
Do you know how hard? It's so hilarious. Like, do you know how hard it is to entertain an 8-year-old when you can't leave the house? It's like whatever. And then I loved how it was the Asian Jim from The Office. Like, that's the actor. Like, I was just like...
Well, he's the guy from Fresh Off the Boat.
He's from Fresh Off the Boat, yes. That's where I got him from. Yeah, I've watched that. So, I actually did it open up with it actually opened up with with Mom, Michelle Pfeiffer character getting lost. That's what it opened with.
Yeah, you're right.
It opened with that. Sorry, I actually looked it up. So that was the opener with a young version of... what's her name?
Basically, the sequence they flash back to in the first Ant-Man.
Yes, but you get to see
a little expanded.
Michelle Pfeiffer, in her mom.
She was dealing with young Hope.
Yes, Hope.
Because they were playing hide and seek or whatever.
Yep. So we get that whole backstory and her getting lost and how they want to go and find her, and then it goes to Scott. So we get. I did like the fact that they got Fresh Off the Boat guy. I think he's hilarious. It's just like for some reason the way he delivers things, and because he's like sincere, he's like, "Oh, really? This is how you do it?" And then he's later on that pays off because he's watching the video on the computer.
Yeah, he's studying, and he's like, "I'll catch you later." He's like, "What?" It's like, "Oh, I thought you wanted to ask to be out,
or
you want to hang out, or
you want to go out?" Or... Yeah, that was great. So yeah, this movie didn't have a lot of different. Location changes, didn't it? I noticed that it was like you really, because they had a mobile lab, so when you have a mobile lab you have the same location that can pop up wherever they are, but
very convenient.
Yeah, I thought that just having him being stuck at home, and then obviously you get his friends are all back in this movie too, which is their names. I'm sorry, I'm pulling up like names.
Lewis. I only know Lewis.
Lewis, Dave, and Kurt, right? Wait,
yeah.
Yes.
I love their company name. Was it XCon Security or something like that?
Yeah. XCon. That's right. So you had them in this, and I don't know. I'm trying to go through this timeline wise, but it's probably better if we just kind of talk about our favorite sequences, anyways, for it, because it's like breaking down this movie. It was more about like by the characters. So we had those three in this movie, which I felt obviously were comic relief, but there's a lot of comedy even from Paul Rudd's character with Scott. But you had the main characters of Hank Pym and Hope trying to find their mom. And
I mean, this movie was really Wasp's movie, like
it
Hope's
was.
movie.
That's what I mean. It's a story about her family, and that's. I mean, Hank Pym's the original Ant-Man, so I gotta say, like,
And it works on another level because it's the original Ant-Man and the original Wasp. Ant-Man
Yes.
and the Wasp.
yeah, that's true. There it is. So you had. I mean, I thought every character did a great job. Michael Pena was Lewis. We had what was it? Who played? I don't even know who played the villain in this. I mean, Lawrence Fishburne. Burn.
The girl, the ghost girl.
Yeah, who's the girl? Girl, yeah.
Oh,
I don't know who she was, but like, let's
she's a
for
She's
me.
pretty.
Yeah, for me, like,
pretty girl.
here's the thing: like, they made us a villain in this movie that wasn't quite a villain, right? Like, it was kind of a flawed.
It's
person.
the thing is, like, she had her motivations, and she didn't necessarily feel bad about crossing certain lines. So
No, I mean,
she
was
just
trained
wanted
that
to get.
way.
I mean, she wants to live, and like, in order to live, she needs to do things that aren't necessarily kosher. And,
Well, I thought her backstory is pretty fucked up too, because like how Shield basically raised her to be an assassin.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, that's kind of.
Well, we're
up.
gonna exploit your defect or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
They really painted Shield into a negative light with that. What they make.
well, I mean,
used
that's the
her
whole thing about Hank Pym too. He left Shield because he didn't like what they were doing.
Yeah, and I thought that I mean, like, immediately I knew that Lawrence Fishburne's character was obviously more to his character, but I always thought he was going to be more evil than he was. I mean, he's a legitimately good. He's a good
Same
guy.
thing with-
He's a good guy.
Yeah, and same thing with.
Yeah.
I mean, he was trying to help out somebody who was in need,
Yeah.
and
So.
I mean, that's honestly what I really liked about this movie. Not that it like impacts my score or like how I feel about it, but well, it does how I feel about it. But like, it wasn't like I'm trying to take over the world. Or,
No,
you
it
know,
was a
trying to
very
become
small.
immortal. It was
It was a
this is
smaller.
very similar to the first one, where it's like contained,
Yeah.
smaller, just like its
personal,
own thing.
intimate. Yeah.
Yep.
This was
And-
even more contained than the first one. I thought this was more smaller scaled than the first one. The first one still had global aspirations, whereas this one was just what?
Smaller
Yes, pun intended. So
and bigger.
and bigger, but it was more like, this was more about survival and not about global domination, or like he wanted the villain in the first one wanted that suit to be like, the future of like combat
What
or
was
whatever it is.
the other guy, the
Stinger.
the arms dealer.
Oh,
dude.
I don't know what his point was really.
That thing with him was he was kind of like I was gonna say he was forgettable, pointless, and like
He didn't really have a payoff, except
Yeah,
except to cause confusion into the plan.
I think
and-
that's all he really served was to be like a third party.
We never find out who his possible buyers were.
It's like, yep, and it's like just to give the ex-con something to do.
Yeah, I gave them something.
well.
Yeah, it was definitely a weaker plot point. That was actually the weakest in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
If it paid off, like he was working with like I don't know Hammer Technology or something like that or whatever, like that would have been like, oh cool, like interesting, maybe that
Mhm.
goes somewhere. But it's like no, okay, just nothing.
But like, yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like the story. I mean, it's a 2-hour movie, which is not a short movie. It's not a long movie, but it felt quick. Like it felt like they moved things along. It's to the point where it's like that's like little part of it doesn't really make you don't even think about it really while you're there. You think about it more after you leave. You're like, oh wait, what did he do in this? He didn't really have a point. But during you're just like, okay, this guy is causing chaos, and I thought there'd be bigger payoff, I guess, for his character, like who he's working for, or some twist.
Yeah, it
but
seemed
we
like they
didn't
were
get that.
setting something up. But
Yeah,
then it's
I was
like, well,
expecting a
that's not-
twist, but we didn't get that. No, but back to Ava, because I like to talk about villains, and she's not really a villain. She's more of just a, miss.
She kills people.
She does. She obviously wants her own life to go on, so she does what she needs to do, and obviously,
Well, let's talk about what's wrong with her. Like,
she's
so-
out of phase, right?
well, yeah. So her father was trying to do the same thing that Hank Pym was doing, but the experiment went badly, and there was an explosion, and she got hit with whatever.
Particles that was,
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah,
Quantum waves.
Quantum waves,
quantum
yeah.
stuff. Yeah, the
Just
quantum
add
realm.
quantum in front of every.
Dude, that was a great quote.
And so she can phase in and out of like physical being, so she can go through walls and obstacles and stuff like that.
I do love.
But she can't really control it, so she's starting
Yes.
to just fade away forever. And so she needs to get the quantum realm power from, from Hank Pym in that group
Yeah.
to save herself.
Yeah, and I think that was that's obviously the drive, and you have Lawrence Fishburne's character who was
He brought her up because her parents die in that explosion, and so he brings her up
Yeah.
and basically raises her.
Yeah, Bill Foster, that's his name. I mean, So we have him who raises her like a father figure almost to her, and he's trying to save her life the whole time, which is, it obviously is good intentions, but the solution they came to about using Janet, Hank's wife, who's stuck in the quantum
he even
realm.
backtracks on that and is like...
He does. He realizes, well, even like, I think the best part for his character is when she was ready to go for Scott's daughter. That's where he just drew that line, and that was the end of that. Like, he was not crossing that line, and that was impressive as a character. I thought that was where he would fall down the hole and go full bad kind of thing, or not bad, but more of like, I'm going to be quiet.
Yeah, that was definitely that was the crossroads for him.
Yeah, and I thought it was cool, like, to have a villain in the movie, like, because he is kind of a villain there, where he draws a line to the point where he's like, we're not going this far. I'm out. If that's the case, I'm done.
Well, it gives them the ability to use him again later on as a good guy.
Yeah.
And Ghost also.
And Ghost.
Which at the end,
yes,
they kind of be like, our Ghost friend.
We kind of get a little bit of a cure for her, obviously, but we'll get into that. So, I gotta say, again, I said this in the podcast, the de-aging that Marvel does for these characters, to Michael Douglas and Michelle Pfeiffer, just in that opening sequence alone, was amazing.
I didn't even see that sequence, so I'm like, I'm curious to see that.
It looked better than the last movie.
I would hope so. Yeah.
Michelle Pfeiffer looked great, and I was like, I can't believe they de-aged them like that, and that was like the big conversation after the movie with my girlfriend. I was just like, wow, they look just like they did back in the 80s, essentially. What you would expect in them, sort of. I mean, a little more aged because they're playing characters, but it looked pretty impressive. Let's see, Hope. Let's talk about Hope for a little while. So, because her character is the big central point of this movie. Yeah.
When I watched this movie, she was the biggest star and shown the most, I felt. And that's what I wanted, because I thought that they could have done more with her in the first movie. And then, so here, they definitely put a lot of emphasis on her. And obviously, because they're looking for her mom and how much that's affecting her. And that's the whole plot of this movie. And she really rose to the occasion. She did a great job. And,
you kind of still had the same character from the first movie. Obviously, it was more strained because of what Scott did about going in Civil War without her. You had the whole loner kind of thing, which she shook off as she went through. But of course, Scott had that. That was a kind of a character flaw for Scott, because it was more about, I got to protect myself, and that's it. And always about him. That was, I guess, what the theme of that was. But I think her character showed the. You get to know more about her past as a kid, and where more of her drive.
Well, I mean, the thing with Ant-Man in this, I think it wasn't necessarily he was like completely selfish, like, I need to do this, not because like he was afraid of the personal repercussions, but it was the repercussions for his daughter. Like, he didn't want to lose his daughter.
Well, he was doing everything for his daughter, which is and the thing is, they couldn't even argue with him when he brought that up, because it was like, okay, yeah, you go back, and like, he did so many stupid things to like cause the problems, like call Lewis and tell him where they were, and that caused a big problem with the plan, and it's just more like, but even then they're angry with him, but hey, go home, go home, Scott, go home. So. Yeah.
Well, he showed up again, and that was the important thing. And his conversation with Cassie, in her bedroom.
I love that. He's like, "You need a partner," and it's like, "I was talking about me."
Yeah. I thought that was good.
She is like a hero in the comics now.
Oh, is she? Yeah. So I think like
one of the
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I had a lot of fun watching this movie, and the constant, Paul Rudd's character Scott Lang throwing out the, not humor, but more of like, they're talking about stuff that nobody has any idea what they're talking about, and he's that character for us, and he's just like, do you guys just add quantum, like you said, in front of everything?
Yeah.
And at that sequence I was thinking that, and he said it, I was like, this is wow. So
it's like, he just says what you're thinking. It's like, whatever. And I actually really liked when just fast forwarding ahead, is when the mother channeled herself through him, like his body, and he's she's like, oh, honey,
that was great.
It's just like they're holding hands. He's like, what?
Yeah, I think this movie had. I mean, the thing for this movie is like, if you kind of stop to really break down the story, there's a lot of holes into it, but it's more about the fun that you're having while it's going on and just enjoying the movie. Like, if you try to overthink everything, I think it becomes less fun, this movie. But overall,
try to like scientific. Like, if you're trying to like be more scientifically accurate and stuff like that.
Break down issues like we did with the one character who doesn't really have a place in this movie, and then like the motivation of the villain. I know a lot of people had a lot of people had issues with the villain, like because she didn't have a lot of that was like they saw that as the weakest part of the film because it really didn't have a strength of a villain.
And we talk about it a lot, but like I love how they didn't kill her off in this.
No,
like,
and that was a good call.
And just getting like totally like hashtag it's all connected. People are speculating that Ghost being around after this. Apparently, I think she was part of Norman Osborn's task force for what were they? Thunderbolts.
Oh, okay.
Did you guys hear where like the supervillains had to actually be heroes in the public persona, even though they were actual villains? They're hired by like Norman Osborn and stuff like that. So it's like
cool.
Passing off as like Iron Man and stuff in the public, but it's like, whoa, it's Norman Osborn underneath that Iron Man suit, haha, like kind of thing. So it could lead to something like that in the future.
Cool.
I don't know. I just thought she was cool, either as a villain or like as like another auxiliary like hero.
Sounds like she's gonna be a good guy now, just based off of the fact that she's like doing whatever they're doing at the end for her.
Yeah, and if she's more like a Nebula, that's cool too. Like I can live with that.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, like I'm trying to think of like my favorite like sequence of this movie, and it's probably the story
Michael Pena paints. Like, where's Scott Lang?
Yeah, I think
I'm getting there.
Yeah, you open Pandora's box, man. You gotta let him go. I think that sequence was actually really funny. But I think my favorite sequence actually of it was the original when Hope went and visited that arms dealer. Or whoever he is, whatever he is, and that first rundown, that whole thing was great with the kitchen and stuff. Yeah, ghost appearance. That whole sequence was really awesome for me. I think I would have liked to have less of that action sequences in the trailers. I think the trailers showed a lot of the action sequences, which was good because they didn't give us the jokes as many. We didn't have, which is cool because you always, when you get to a movie and the joke's already been used, you're like, I heard this in the trailer. I'm happy they didn't do that, but. So I don't know what else they would have put in the trailer, to be honest with you, but maybe this movie would have done better to have just a trailer or maybe 2 instead of like 3 or 4 or whatever, teasers and so. But so I mean, like I said, this is probably one of my most enjoyable, if not the most enjoyable Marvel film, and it might just be because it's magnified from the fallout that is Infinity War, of the downer that ended at, that it makes it. And I would like to go back and watch this in a few months. And then see if I have that same opinion, because I found that I was having more fun. You
watched it way after, though. I mean, we're
I know, but
past
I think,
War.
But I'm afraid that I had more fun with it because of that. I'm like, I had a lot of fun watching this movie, like to the point where like I said, it's like, in terms of fun, I just remember having a lot of fun watching Iron Man, and I put this up there with it. Guardians 1 is probably better than this, but it's close. These two are close in my opinion. Guardians 1's probably more fun, but yeah. I mean, like I said, I would probably put this over Iron Man in terms of fun. To watch it again. Like I would enjoy watching this movie. Like I'd watch Guardians and then I'd watch this and then I'd probably watch Iron Man and then Guardians 2.
I guess my biggest issue with this was I didn't feel Scott Lang grew that much from one.
Dude, he broke his record. He was really huge.
That was great too. The comparison. You guys stop comparing sizes.
As a character. Yeah. No, I mean, I think it was fun. I liked it. I am curious too to see how. If this came out before Infinity War, what people would say about this movie compared to since it came out after, it'd be interesting to see that.
Yeah.
Because I do think this, like you were saying, Jim, you probably felt like this was more fun because of that. But
yeah, it hit exactly what I wanted. It was exactly what I wanted from a movie.
So I mean, I kind of slightly disagree with you about like Scott not like emotionally or characteristically. Because I think his whole plotline in this movie was him being able to trust and rely on others, and I'm not saying they did a great job or they did it.
But then that's my thing. Is like
I think that's always
past that.
Yeah, but I think
we're doing this again.
Yeah, I think that was from the first movie, and I think it was even like the point of his character and even leaving them in the beginning. The whole point of him stealing the suit and was more about protecting them. Because that's what he learned in the first movie. So I think I understand Corey's point. Like, what else is what else is he going to grow into, though? He's already like our hero now. You know what I mean? He fought with the Avengers. That was the big thing in this. And,
well, no, but you're just doing the same thing you did before. It's like what it was. Like, we're not growing as a character because we're just repeating the same things.
Well, no,
and
this was more about family for him.
No, yeah, and it's great. I mean, he was a lot of fun. Like he had great jokes and everything. But that's, I don't know. I just felt like
But it was also him realizing
after
he had more
Civil
family.
War and things like that, you'd think his character he'd be not necessarily more heroic, but just more confident as a hero type. But he was still kind of that bumbling guy who's like the joke of
Well, he also
everything.
he didn't have a working suit at
No,
all.
I know. I realized that. Like, oh, I'm gonna be like half my size.
But
and-
yeah, I mean, they kind of did that as a plot point, like a story point. So like he couldn't be that character.
I mean, I understand where you're coming. I kind of like it because he's not like the traditional like. He's not like.
Well, he's not
America.
Cap,
Is that
sure.
right? He's not Tony Stark. Not Thor. Like
Black
he's
Widow,
just like
he's
right.
not.
He's like that
not-
bubble.
He's not a trained superhero. of
Right,
course.
exactly. He's the comic relief. So
Yeah.
I enjoy it, and I think it gives a different take on the Marvel.
I think so. What do we think of the miniature, the cars, all that sequences? Like selecting
Those
the
are
cars?
so cool.
It was
Like
awesome.
that's I love the creativity that they can do with the shrinking and the growing. Just like
Yeah,
it's just like
Yep.
lift them up.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying before with the plot points though. Like, how does that make sense when like the density's still like you're still that? I guess isn't that supposed to be still that heavy?
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean that's the idea.
Yeah, it's movie
but
magic.
yeah, that's when you start thinking about stuff sometimes. But yeah, movie magic. But I did like that whole thing. There's a lot of Hyundai advertisements. Thank you, Hyundai, for sponsoring Ant-Man and Wasp. But yeah, it was good. I mean, I like the building shrinking and growing again. Like the building on a and when it grew back up, they didn't put the handle back down.
Yeah,
So
I
they,
like that.
did you notice that little point? It was higher up because of that.
Yeah.
That was great. But yeah, I felt like we didn't get a lot of the quantum realm like I thought we would get. We don't know anything about that place. Like what were those things? Obviously, she yelled at him. Watch those when he went back in at the end there. But
There's a lot of clues in that last like warning that she gave.
yeah, there were. And I want to talk about that next. Is I wasn't aware that was happening, which is cool. I'm glad it didn't get spoiled for me, that part. When it happened, when we were watching the credits roll and that came up, we can go back to another scene in a second, but when that came up, all of a sudden I'm like, this is gonna be it. This is gonna be the top, but I didn't know, and so like when I'm like he's going in there, I'm like, I guess it's good that he has 3 of them there or 2 of them there because one of them will get him out of that, and then like they're both gone, and I'm just like, oh shit.
All 3 of them are
all
gone.
3 are gone. I'm sorry, I have all 3 of them there. So somebody's gonna get him out, but all 3 went, and he's stuck in the quantum realm.
Yeah. My other thing was I was kind of hoping Hope would be there with him.
Yeah.
In the quantum realm, and they could kind of get out together, but.
Do we? Yeah, I mean, what else do we want to talk about in the movie before we get to that ending? Because I want to talk about the ending quite a bit. How do we see this tying into Infinity War? Like, how do we see this? Obviously, we know what it's tying in with at the fade out there, but how does he? Do you think he actually has any impact in Infinity War then, or is he stuck in the quantum realm the whole time?
Well,
No,
I mean, from what
based on what she said, I think is going to have a major part.
big role.
Okay.
And supposedly, like people are rumoring that because kind of like Corey mentioned, how his daughter Cassie is actually a superhero or hero, whatever you call it. People are saying that she could be the one that actually rescues him from the quantum realm, in the future, and then I don't know, sends it back in time or whatever to help the other Avengers, or works as Tony Stark and whoever.
Because Janet talks about like, oh, watch out for those time slip things or whatever, and like who knows where you'll end up and stuff like that. You'll
Okay.
never get out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
do we see him show up in Miss Marvel, the Captain Marvel movie, or whatever you call it?
No, I
No,
don't think
because that's
that.
entirely, at least to my knowledge, going to be entirely in the 90s.
Well, yeah, but that's all about time based with him.
Right, but I don't think we get anything.
No,
with him.
Okay.
yeah, I doubt you'll see him there, but I definitely think the time travel aspect will play a role in him getting out and back to where it needs to be for Avengers.
Okay, so he will be in Infinity War Part 2, or whatever they're calling it.
Yep.
So
And I think Hope is going to be there too. So.
I assume she'll be in it too. Yeah, I think they're gonna get.
And that's why I was a little upset. Not because this was her movie, and like the whole thing was them like getting Janet and stuff. And it's like I kind of wish she was there with Scott. They could work on getting out together. But with some of the fan theories, like you're saying with Cassie and stuff, I think that's a very high possibility. So
Yeah.
he's on his own again, and that's like the scariest thing too, right? It's like not funny, guys. Like where's everybody not knowing what happened? Like
All right, exactly, and like just kind of like what happened to
Janet.
Janet. I mean, changes you. Like if
Yep.
he is stuck in there for years or
Yeah,
whatever.
what's he gonna come? Yeah, and potentially he could be there theoretically he could be there thousands of years and whatever, and come back to time. Like, who knows what's could happen? And we saw Janet got changed and has powers that she didn't have before.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Anything else to add, guys? I mean, I give it a score. Would you guys? I'd probably give this an 8.5 out of 10.
I'll give it a solid 8.
I was on an 8, but
7.
I was on an 8, but I'd round it up a little bit because how much, as I talked about it, the more fun I remembered it. So I had a lot of fun with this movie, and I think I don't know, it just hit right. You know what I mean? It just hit at that. Yeah. That's what I wanted to see at this.
I really love
that hit right for me.
Ghost and Hope characters, Ava and Ghost. I thought they were fantastic in the movie.
Yeah.
And I don't know why people have a problem with the Ava character in general. It seems kind of weird.
I understand because it's not necessarily like a super villain, but it's an antagonist. Has cool powers. They didn't kill her off like they usually do.
Sequences with her. So
yeah, like I was excited to see more of her powers. Like I'd love to see her power set expanded. They decided to use her. Stuff like that.
Yeah. So I think we all enjoyed it. I mean, Corey, I can't believe you get a 7 though, but.
I mean, I think Black Panther I gave a 7.5. So this is not as good as Black Panther.
No, it wasn't. But I think I gave Black Panther a 9, so I'm right there. But different movies, though. Watchability, man. Yeah. It's all about the... Okay, so, maybe I give it an 8.
I'd watch Black Panther over this movie any day.
Yeah, I mean, that was fun, too. So it's tough. This is a really fun movie to watch, though.
Yeah.
So
do you guys think we see a third Ant-Man?
I think so. I think he's going to be more of a good hero for the next phase.
A good question.
I think we do.
I don't.
Okay. I think we do.
Interesting.
I think he'll be a good hero because they're going to get a new cast. A lot of these Avengers are going to get killed off in this next movie.
No, absolutely.
So a lot of the slates are going to be opened up for more movies, I
mean, I do want to see more Wasp. I think she was great.
That's the thing. Like, I think we get that. So.
I think we do see a third one. Yeah. But I also do think that they're going to be partners from now on.
For sure. I think we constantly get them. You Hope's there?
Well, no, I mean,
you said
obviously.
Yeah, Hope. Yeah.
Hope.
Sorry.
Hope.
All right. So I think that's going to wrap up the bonus round. Right? Yeah, I think we're good.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in. Let us know what you think of it. Write us podcast allcangeek.net. Follow us on Twitter, allcangeek. Like us on Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Tune into more bonus rounds coming up. I don't know. Mission Impossible might work out with some of us. We'll see. I'm going to try to check it out this week.
Tony's going to check.
Yeah, we'll see. So we'll check that out. And I'm going to go see Teen Titans more than likely, too, at some point. So, again, Tony, depends on Movie Pass, right? So there we go. So we'll check out for more of these, and we'll see you guys next week for our regular stuff. Thank you.
See ya.
See ya.